Welcome back to the Tailgate Discussions Game of the Week. We've been away for a couple of weeks, but we are back better than ever, and we have Louisville versus Notre Dame this week.
Yep.
Alex, your thoughts on this one?
Well, Notre Dame is going to be opening up the game as a 6.5 point favorite. 3:30 game at home. And as for number 17 Notre Dame, it's been a pretty up and down season for them so far. They opened the year with a 23-13 win over Texas A&M, so things started off pretty high. They followed that up with like the most disastrous loss we're going to see all season, I think. 16-14 loss at home to NIU. And since then, they've beaten down Purdue 66-7, and most recently they won 28-3 over Miami, Ohio. But that game over Miami, Ohio was pretty underwhelming. And Riley Leonard as a whole hasn't been as impressive as I expected.
Yeah, I think he doesn't look as talented as we thought coming into this season.
Yeah, as
Uh,
a passer, like he's just struggling out there. Um, he had, I think, 150 rushing yards last game against Miami, Ohio, but I think he threw two picks
mhm.
and just very inconsistent as a passer.
Well, and another thing to point out is that this team, they don't look as talented in the trenches as everybody thought that they would
Yeah,
this year as well. And maybe that's what is affecting Riley Leonard's passing game. But still, I mean, you've got to find a way to make it work, and he just isn't right now.
yeah, they brought in Riley Leonard to elevate that team, and he's just not doing that right now. It's kind of the second year in a row now. I'm not gonna be out on Riley Leonard just yet, but this is the second year in a row now they've brought in a big time transfer QB, and it hasn't exactly gone to plan.
Hmm. So can Louisville bring an elite defense like they did last year, shut down this Notre Dame team, and
Right.
surprise us all and take the dub here? I mean, I think these are two evenly matched teams as of right now.
Completely agree.
But I think whoever comes out with the win is going to elevate them back into the top 10. Um, Give them some hope, give them some motivation, and really motivate that team to do better the rest of the season.
Yeah, for Notre Dame, their season, I mean, you could argue it's already over, but maybe if they win out, they have a shot at the playoff. So it starts by getting this win today and flipping the script and just erasing that awful loss to NIU. But as for 3-0 Louisville, it wasn't the prettiest game either for them last week against Georgia Tech, but it was still a victory nonetheless. They were outgained by Georgia Tech for 410 yards to 326. They countered that by scoring in all three phases of the game and came out on top with a 31-19 win. The notable thing for Louisville to pay attention to is they have 7 players who scored a rushing touchdown this year in just 3 games, and their rushing attack is led by Kajon Brown and Isaac Brown. So those two running backs are very, very good. And then they have a sixth-year quarterback by the name of Tyler Show, who hasn't thrown a pick yet this season. He has 8 touchdown passes, so he's been very efficient. And maybe you've heard of Show before because he's a former Oregon Duck. And
Mm.
then he moved to the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and now he's on the Louisville Cardinals. And this is, I think, his first year ever starting, and it looks like he's finally found a home here.
Yeah, Tyler Show, he's had a brutal uh, career.
Has he
Um,
had injuries? Like, I don't really know the story on him.
it's been a lot of injuries. He started the 2020 season with the Ducks.
Okay.
Didn't look the greatest. Got injured the next season, or maybe he transferred. I can't remember. Um, I think he got injured that next year. Transferred to Texas Tech. Got injured. Got injured again last season. And yeah, it's just been a rough going for him. Brutal career with injuries. Hopefully he can keep it alive this season.
Yeah, he's
Um,
off to a great start.
so yeah, and he's playing for Louisville, right?
Correct. And I think
Yeah.
he's a
So
big upgrade from who they had last year. The name of their quarterback is escaping me, but he was I hated the guy that they had last year at QB. Threw a lot of picks. Just overall was not a very good player. And I think that they've upgraded here at QB. And I think the rest of the team on Louisville looks as good as last year's team, if not better. So they're a pretty dangerous squad. And in the ACC, we can confidently say that they're the third best team, arguably the second best team right now. So they have a lot of aspirations. They could be fighting for a conference championship right now. So Louisville is actually entering this game 3-0 against the spread. Two of their 3 games this year have gone over the total. And yeah, I think that they could do the same thing they did against Notre Dame last year, for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one.
Okay.
Especially with how close the teams are ranked. I believe it's 14, 15, 15, 16, somewhere in there.
Yeah, Louisville's 19 and Notre Dame 17.
Okay, I was way off.
Still close. They're close together though.
Yeah. According to the AP, Louisville is 15, Notre Dame is 16. That's what I saw. But I think, I don't know. I think Louisville's going to come out with the win here. I just haven't seen that Notre Dame, that Fighting Irish feel from Notre Dame this year. I mean, the loss to Northern Illinois, even the games after that, like they just don't. It just doesn't seem like a true Marcus Freeman, type squad. I believe that's their head coach's name, Marcus Freeman, right? Yeah. They just look bleak. They look bleak on the offensive side of the ball with Riley Leonard. He just doesn't look as talented as we thought he was going to be. That offensive line doesn't look very talented. And, maybe that's because they lost multiple members of that offensive line last year, including...
I mentioned that, I think, in one of our earlier videos. They lost Joe Alt and their other tackle on the other side. So they're working with a lot of new faces on the O-line, and that's I think, a big problem for them right now. And they got to fix that coming into this game, or it's over for them.
Well, and yeah, speaking of Joe Alt, I mean, he's perhaps an already top 5 offensive lineman in the NFL.
He's looking great.
So, losing that kind of lineman can do a lot of things to hurt your franchise or your program. Because now you got to go and find that piece.
Yeah.
They bring a lot of leadership to, that offensive line. Same thing with Jackson Powers Johnson and my Ducks, But, I'm going to go with Louisville on this one. I think the final score probably going to fall under on the over-under, which is currently at 48.5. I think it's going to be 28-20. 28-17.
That's a pretty similar prediction to what I got. I think at the very least, Louisville's going to cover here. Like I said, they're 3-0 against the spread this season, and Notre Dame's just looked very sloppy to open up the year, making them very vulnerable for not just Louisville covering, but Louisville upsetting them. I'm also going to predict Louisville to win this game, and my score prediction is going to be 24-20. I think we see a decent amount of field goals this game, and it's going to be a grinded out type of game, but I think Louisville has the personnel to do that and win those types of games, which they've done before against Notre Dame. And this will be a huge win for Louisville.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Game of the Week. Make sure to watch this game on Peacock, and come back next week for our recap, and continue watching our Game of the Weeks right here on Fantom Sports Industries. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to the Fantom Sports channel so you can stay alert on all of the videos that we post.